Welcome to Dining with Dan and Becky at the Glen Ferris Inn. Tonight, my guest is Randal Reid Smith. Why did I do that? Randal Reid Smith. And his guest is
Becky Shannon. Becky is the executive director of the Governor's Mansion down in Charleston.
Great. And Randal is the commissioner of Culture and History.
Well, the governor gave me a new title. I am the curator for the West Virginia Department of Arts, Culture, and History.
Well, how can you get that all in one sentence?
It's a big business card.
He had to order bigger business cards.
For.
Yep.
Well, I'm glad that you all were able to come up and dine with us this evening. We'll go back in the kitchen and see what Becky has made up for us, and we'll get started.
Oh, that's great.
Terrific.
Looking forward.
Hello, I'm Becky, and welcome to Dining with Dan and Becky at the Glen Ferris Inn. Tonight, Dan's menu is going to consist of a tossed salad, simply fried chicken, mashed potatoes, green beans, homemade noodles, and a shoe fly pie. We're going to make our shoe fly pie first. Now, I'll be absolutely honest. The first time I heard of a shoe fly pie, I had a guest in the dining room, and this is when we were first open. And he asked me if I would make him a shoe fly pie. So I said, of course, and I had no idea what it was. So I called my mom, Granny, and asked her, and she told me, guys, she didn't even have to look it up. That woman knows everything about cooking. And so this is her recipe. All right, you need 1 unbaked pie shell, which I did earlier today, and I used our standard pie dough recipe. 2 cups of flour, pinch of salt, tablespoon of sugar. Mix it up. Work in 3/4 cup of solid shortening, and when that's worked in and resembles small peas, add 3/4 cup of water. So anyway, for our pie filling, we need 1.5 cups of molasses. Most people do not care for molasses, but did you know that brown sugar is made by mixing a certain amount of molasses with granulated sugar? Yep. And everyone loves, I don't know of a person who doesn't like gingerbread. And it is full of molasses. So we have our molasses, and we need to add to it, let me shake this out, 1 cup plus 2 tablespoons of boiling water. And I have boiling water here, so we're going to do 1 cup. Well, and then just a little bit because I didn't bring my tablespoon measurer here. We're going to add that to the molasses. Then we are going to whisk it until the molasses is soft and mixed in with the hot water. Okay, and what we are going to do with this is add it to our pie shell. Now the recipe calls for a 9-inch pie shell. Well, I don't have any. I had to make a 10-inch one. So I used 1.5 times the recipe that Granny gave me for this. Whew. All right, now all we have to do is the crumb topping. Now this is a topping very similar to a crisp, except that there's no oatmeal in it. So we have 2 1/4 cups of flour, 1 1.5 cups of light brown sugar, and I'm going to mix that together. Now, there are a few lumps here, but that's just how it is with brown sugar. All right, we're going to continue mixing this. I need to melt our butter. All right, let's continue mixing this up. Okay, I think I've got most of the lumps out. And we're going to add our melted margarine. And I did use margarine on this because when I prepped it, I didn't have my butter down here. But everything else will have butter in it. So we're going to mix this up until it resembles small crumbs again, or small peas, however you want to look at it. Then we're going to drizzle it on top of our molasses layer, and then we're going to bake it off. So we are almost there. I have found several recipes for the shoe fly pie over the years, and they all resemble my mother's. Some have shortening in it, some have margarine, some have butter, some have 1 egg, some have 2, but they're all very similar. Now, once you have your topping made, see how it is crumbly? All we're going to do is drizzle that or sprinkle it on top of our molasses layer. And don't be upset if some of it goes in it, because it's going to. And you want to cover this as much as possible and put it down as close as possible so you don't have much force hitting it, because we want this to stay on the top, not inside the pie. Okay, and there we are. So we're going to bake this off. And get it in the oven. Whew. So we're going to set our temperature at 375, power level on 9, and the timer on 15 minutes. Now after 15 minutes, we're going to set the temperature back down to 350 and let it bake another 20 to 30 minutes until it doesn't wiggle when you shake it. So if you give me a minute to clean up, we will start our noodles, and I'll be right back. All right, welcome back. For your egg noodles, you need half a whole egg for each person, or you need the entire yolk for each person, depending on how much yolk you want in your noodles. I use the entire egg for the simple fact that I don't like to waste food. I guess that's my West Virginia heritage, and I'd just rather use the white. Now you're going to whisk this up. You're going to add just a little bit of evaporated milk and a little bit of salt. Now you add a little bit more milk to your chicken broth, which I have heating on the stove, and it already has salt in it. So in my large mixing bowl, you have got 5 complete eggs, a healthy pinch of salt, and just a little bit of evaporated milk. So let me get rid of this. Now you need a 1/2 cup of flour for each whole egg. So that gives you 2.5 cups of flour. So I put 3 in here just to be on the safe side. So I am going to add the flour in a couple increments. Then we're going to stir it up. Now you have got to keep adding flour and mixing it in until you cannot get another drop of flour in it. It has to be a thick pasta type dough. So here we are. Boy, I'm glad I stopped adding flour when I did. Okay, now I'm going to add just a little bit more and hand knead it in. You have got to keep kneading in flour until you cannot get another drop in it. One of these days, I'm going to buy me a noodle maker, but not anytime soon because this does really very good for me. Okay. So now we're going to roll and cut them out. This is what I have used. This machine is 50 years old, and I have used it. It squeaks, but whoops, there is my oven. So we're going to turn this down to 350, but I am going to take the pie out and cover it with foil. So the top of it does not get too dark. You can smell that molasses, that's for sure. And I'm going to fold that up. And be careful because it will crumble your edges of your pie crust. Then I am going to put it back in, and I am going to cook it for 25 more minutes. Okay. Lower the temperature to 350, and your temperature gauge, your timer, 25 minutes. Your power is still at 9. Okay, so now here we are. All right, you're going to pinch off some. And I'm going to mix a little bit of flour with it. I'm going to elongate it as much as I can, and then I'm going to put it in my little roller here. And I always run mine through twice. I do not know why, I just do. Then I am going to sprinkle some flour on it so it does not stick together. And I'm going to do another one. Now, if you guys will give me a minute, I will roll these out so that you won't be bored to death watching me. And then I'll come back on air and show you how to cut them out and how to put them in the broth. So give me about 2 or 3 minutes and I'll have all this done, okay? Well, hello. We have finished rolling out all of our noodle dough, so we are now ready to cut it out. Boy, I got this in the wrong slot. Okay, there we are. Now, I'm going to move this down a little bit if I can and put the noodles on this side. And I know I can. And twist my all right. Now what we're going to do is cut the noodles and we're going to add extra flour to them as we do so. Now remember, you do the flour so it doesn't stick together. So here we go. Whoops. And there we are. Beautiful noodles. Now, aren't those just perfect? This doesn't take too long after you have made the dough and have rolled them out. You've done the time-consuming part is what I'm trying to say here. All right, let me get some more flour in this. Okay, about 1/3 of the way through. I think I'm going to cut these off because they're just too long. Okay. Now I have been boiling or heating up the chicken broth ever since we started this. Now, in order to put this in your broth, remember, it has to be boiling, and you have to keep it at a soft rolling boil. It does not have to be a vigorous boil. All right, a little bit more flour. Okay, I've got 3 or 4 more, guys, and then we are through. And then we're going to start our potatoes for the mashed potatoes and our green beans. And the last thing we'll have to do is fry our chicken. Uh-oh. Oops. Okay, almost done. Every time I use this, I think about putting WD-40 on it, but I'm just afraid to put it around food. I don't know. So I haven't, and I'll keep on using this until it just won't work anymore. Okay guys, so here we are, our last few pieces of noodles. Now make sure you punch them down as soon as you get them in there. Oh, Danny's going to be eating good tonight, tomorrow, and maybe the next day. He loves noodles. All right, so here we are. Now, aren't those beautiful? All right, now I'm going to push these to the back. I'm going to turn on the mashed potatoes. Now, these only have to simmer, so I can turn the fire on low. Hard to see under pots, that's for sure. Okay, so while these are cooking, the potatoes begin cooking, let me clean up my mess, and then we will start the chicken and then the green beans, okay? I'll be right back. Guys, welcome back. Let's look at this fried chicken. Now, we have made chicken so many different ways on this show that it's unbelievable. On the first few shows, we did our simply fried chicken. Then later, we did country fried chicken. Later, southern fried chicken. We did a country captain that has baked chicken. So tonight, we are going to do simply fried chicken. I'm going to take my chicken and dip it in water. Now the water sticks to the chicken. Then I'm going to put it in flour and sprinkle it over it, turn it over, and the flour sticks to the water. So let me do 2 or 3 pieces. We have got chicken breast, we have got legs, and we've got thighs tonight. And then after we get it in our skillet, I salt and pepper it. Okay, now, to make sure your skillet is hot enough, take some of your flour and sprinkle it on it. It's not quite there, but it's almost. All right, your flour, if your oil is hot, will start fizzing and cooking just like French fries dropped in hot oil. So let's do one more. Oh, I think that's ready. Okay, let's get these in, then I'll take the pie out and check it. Now, if you look at this, when I put it in, it started sizzling. Not as much as I want, but at least it's bubbling. Now, for your legs, when I do those, I put head to tail. So I'm going to put the thick part of the drumstick next to the leg, and I'll do the same thing. I will put the thick part of the drumstick next to the bony leg part. Let me scoot this down, and then we're going to do a chicken breast, and I think I can get one more thigh in. All right, put it in the water sticks to the thigh. Then the flour sticks to the water, and here we go. All right, now I'm going to salt and pepper this. I should have worn gloves. I do not know why I didn't. Now, when you're salting and pepper, The higher above the surface of your meat or vegetables, the more even distribution of your seasoning you will have. Or at least that's my theory. Okay. All right, this is the shoofly pie. It is just like any other custard pie, pumpkin pie, molasses pie, buttermilk pie, that when you shake it, if it wiggles, you put it back in the oven. If there's no movement, it's done. So here we are. Dan has never tasted one, so I hope he likes it. I'm going to put it on the counter, let it cool so we can cut it soon, and I'll be right back. Let's do a noodle check. They are almost done. I'm going to give them about 5 more minutes and then we're going to turn the heat off. Okay, let me put that here so I don't burn my hand next time. Our chicken is still not brown enough to turn, so if you'll give me a minute, I'll get the things for us to do our green beans with, and then I will turn the chicken and get ready to put the second batch on. I will be right back. Okay guys, I brought up a quart jar of my home canned half runners for tonight. Okay, if I can get them open. Danny says his mother pulls them open with her fingers. And I guess I'm going to have a can opener, excuse me. Now that we've proven I'm not as strong with fingers as Grandma, I'm going to open it. There we are. Now, if you can beans, you have got to pressure cook them. You've got to pressure can them. All right, this is 1 quart of homegrown half runners, and you won't find better beans anywhere in this country. Now, if you cook them fresh, you're going to have to string them, if it has strings on them, and break them into pieces. Wash them thoroughly, cover them with water, and cook them. And I generally cook mine an hour and a half, maybe 2 hours. I cook them until there is no raw bean taste to them. Now, if you're making frozen beans, they've already been washed, you put them in your pan, cover them with water, and again, you have to cook these. All they've been done is parboiled. Your canned beans have been pressure canned at 10 pounds of pressure for 15 minutes. They are done, but you have got to heat these for a rolling boil for 15 seconds to kill any little strange things that may be in it, because you never know. And after mine comes to a rolling boil, I put butter, and it is real butter, in it and let it simmer a little bit. But you can't simmer these. These have to be a rolling boil. All right. Let's turn our chicken and we'll give it 5 minutes to brown. Then we're going to put it on our baking sheet and pop it in the oven after we brown the other pieces of chicken. Now I'm going to salt and pepper these and turn them one more time. Now that is golden brown chicken, guys. And this is golden brown chicken that has been thoroughly peppered. But I know you will all agree with me. Pepper is really good for you. Okay, now our noodles are finished. It's beginning to thicken up. So what I am going to do is hopefully not get burnt. All right, I'm going to add just a little bit of milk. And I'm going to turn off the fire because these are finished. Oops, I turned off the wrong burner. There I go again. Okay, so we have our noodles that are finished, our potatoes that should be about finished, and our beans that need stirred because the edges are boiling. Okay, let me move this off of the stove and get my cookie sheet. So we are back to this again, and it is pretty well light golden brown. So let's go ahead and take it out. Now remember, put them so that the top part of one is next to the skinny leg of another. And the thighs. The thighs. And I guess we can put the breasts down here. All right. So remember the rule. You put it in the water, and then from the water to the flour, the water sticks to the chicken, the flour sticks to the water. And I would say that my oil is really hot. So let's get over here and get it in the oil. And then lastly, our little breasts. Okay, and there we are. All right, we're going to salt and pepper it. Oops, I got too much pepper on that one. That's too close. Okay, so there we are, guys. Let me go wash my hands. And when I get back, we'll turn the chicken, check the potatoes, and see if they're ready for mashing. Turn down the fire on the green beans and put our butter in it. And then we will be ready to go meet Dan's guest and enjoy dinner. I'll be right back. Okay guys, welcome back. Let's put some butter in our beans, and then I'm going to stir them up, and these are ready to go. So the next thing that we need to do, the chicken's almost ready to turn. We are going to mash our potatoes. Okay guys, our last dish we're going to work on today is our mashed potatoes. Now we have drained them, we've reserved some potato water, we have our evaporated milk, and we have our butter. So what we're going to do is mix these without any additives in it, because that helps you get rid of every lump in this.
There you go. You're good. There we go. Okay, you ready? Straight far. And go back.
All right, I'm going to add a little bit more salt because I'm telling you, I can smell whether potatoes are salted enough as soon as I step in a room. That's probably my biggest talent. Okay guys, I had to take this chicken out. Look how brown it was getting. Now look at that. Any more and I would have had to have eaten it and not let Dan know about it. So here we are. We've got a beautiful pan of chicken. So I am going to put it in the oven to make sure it's extremely cooked. And then if we have time, I'll make gravy. If we don't have time, I won't. And welcome back. Now that we have the chicken taken care of, let's finish these potatoes. All right, now, if you look at this, there is not a lump in this. But the problem is that it isn't creamy. So what we're going to do is make it creamy. All right, I'm going to add a scoop of potato water and stir it up first, because this will make it so that when you eat it, you do not taste milk, you taste potatoes, and don't add too much. Because you cannot take water out of something if it is too dry. All right, there we are. Now the next thing I'm going to do is to add my evaporated milk. And again, you need to do this in increments. Now, if you look at it, you can see this is creamy. Not lumpy, not dry, but just as creamy as vanilla ice cream. So the last thing we want to do is add our butter. And yes, I'll use a larger spoon. And I generally add about a half a stick of butter for every 6 to 8 potatoes I do, because why not? And if I'm doing a big family batch, we're talking about 18 to 20 potatoes, then I add a whole stick. I'm not ashamed to admit it. Okay, let's see about getting a taste. Would you guys like a taste? Okay, I will be thinking of you. Here, Mary. Mary, you want to taste this and see if it's salty enough? All right, Mary's working tonight to help me out, and she's my food tester. So we will see how it goes.
Very good.
Very good. Thank you, dear. All right. So now we've got our pie done. We've got our mashed potatoes done, our noodles done, our green beans done, and our chicken is well on the way to being done, maybe 5 more minutes. So I think I'm going to go out and visit Dan and Randall and Miss Becky in our dining room, and I'll meet you guys out there.
Well, Becky, what have you made up for us this evening?
Well, the last time Randall was at my house,
Right,
we had our Christmas in the summer dinner.
right, I remember that.
And we were just talking, and I said, I was talking about our Christmas dinner that we did on the cooking show that time. And I said, of course, we had noodles. And he said, homemade noodles. And I said, well, I'll make them for you the next time you came. And you know, even though You may be tired of chicken. You can't have homemade noodles without chicken. Beef broth just doesn't work on it. So we're going to do a tossed salad, my simply fried chicken,
Okay.
and then homemade noodles, mashed potatoes, my home canned green beans, and then we're doing a shoe fly pie.
Okay. Made of shoe flies?
Yes, it is.
Okay. Okay,
Sounds
we'll see how
amazing.
you can tell us how you made that when we get it, okay?
Okay.
All right.
Well, I do granny salads from time to time, and that is just cucumbers and red onions and tomatoes.
looks good.
But this was
I'm sorry.
lettuce and
Thank you,
chopped
ma'am.
onions, just completely covered with our nice dressing.
Well, this is
A tossed
Looks
salad.
good.
a tossed salad. You can really smell that onion.
Yes, you can.
I can smell it all in. Well, let's try our salad, and you have your salad dressing with you.
Yes, thank you. Thousand Island.
Thousand Island, and I got my blue cheese.
Vicki, do you know what you can do for Thousand Island that just makes it absolutely superb?
Tell me.
Take 2 tablespoons of Marzetti, a tablespoon and a half of Ken's Thousand Island, and then a tablespoon of Wishbone Thousand Island, and mix them all together, and it is marvelous. Just marvelous.
I can see you've done this a time or two.
Yeah, when I was close to the bottom of the jar.
Each one of
and
the
then-
jars, she put it all together.
Yeah, I put it all together because I don't like wasting food, and I thought, boy, is that good. So now I do it every time I have a salad at the house.
That's a great idea.
Well, that blue cheese is good.
We make that on site, Randall.
I tell you, my mother loves onion. She loves, my grandfather always put out a huge garden and green onions. And boy, she'd just go out there and just peel it and eat it right out of the garden.
See, I couldn't do that.
Well, Randall, tell us what you've been up to lately down at the Cultural Center. And tell us what's happening in the state.
Well, if you follow the legislative session back in 2018, you might have seen where they took education of the arts, that department, and put education over it, Department of Education, and then the governor insisted on having an arts department. So the governor put all the arts with culture and history, and then that came along with all the libraries, public broadcasting, volunteer services. So since June 8th, we've been very busy with the new department, and it's really great because I still get to work 8 days a week, but just 12 hours every day. So
you've
yeah,
got lots to do.
lots to do, and it's great.
Well, I saw you on the legislative
The legislature today, yeah, on Arts Day.
on Arts Day, and you had a group of students there. Were those students yours, or where were they?
What we did on Arts Day was we did several things because it was Valentine's Day this year, and the 2 days before we had the Arts Summit for the entire state of West Virginia. On Valentine's Day, it was Arts Day at the legislature. It was also the day that we debuted the First Lady's Blinko piece, which was a beautiful crackled, what do they call that? Slipper pitcher, and with a blue handle, and it was clear crystal, and with a West Virginia on it with a wreath around it. It was beautiful.
Outline of the state of
West Virginia. And then we had students in to sing from Capitol High School, the VIPs,
Right.
and
They did a
they
great
sang
job.
for us. They did a great job, and we had 167 people attend Arts Conference.
Well, Randall, tell us a little bit more while they're delivering their meals out about the things that's happening at the Cultural Center.
Well, Dan, we just had the 100th anniversary of the West Virginia State Police, March 29th. The dance festival, we have West Virginia State History Bowl coming up, and then next month is Vandalia and the annual quilt contest.
Well, great. We'll have to enter one of Becky's quilts she made years and years ago. She's made lots of quilts.
It's one of our favorite times of the year because those quilts look so beautiful on that marble.
Well, we need to quit talking for just a second and try to eat our meal.
But
Becky,
you know-
tell us what you've made here.
Fried chicken. I call it simply fried chicken because
And
all
why?
I do is dip it in water, roll it in flour, season it, and fry it.
Okay.
And then there's country fried chicken, where you take your chicken, put it in your flour or whatever breading you're using, then in buttermilk, then back in it and fry it. And
Okay.
that leaves a real thick crust on them. And then there is Southern fried chicken, where you take it and dip it in your breading, then egg, then
Right.
more breading and fry it. But this is simply fried chicken because it's as simple as it gets.
Okay, and
And-
the noodles?
The noodles are your mother's recipe, homemade noodles.
Homemade egg noodles, okay. All right.
And then the green beans are canned out of your garden,
All right.
and then mashed potatoes.
These noodles are out of this world.
Well, thank you.
They're very good.
The fried chicken's beautiful. It's so, it doesn't look greasy at all.
Well, I take my chicken and I brown it on both sides, so it is fried and has the taste of fried chicken. But then the last 10 minutes it cooks, I put it in the oven and it bakes all the grease out.
Oh,
So it
that's
is
so
a lot
smart.
more healthy,
Yes.
but yet you still have that fried chicken taste.
Well, it's very good.
Well, thank you.
Dan, do you eat like
I'd
this
to
every
have a
night?
tad more salt on mine, though.
Do you eat like this every night, Dan?
Well, if we don't eat it here, I eat it at the house, you know what I'm saying?
Well, when I fix him his dinner, unless I have leftovers, he always gets some sort of a meat and then another vegetable, and it's generally a low carb.
I just don't know
type
how he
vegetable.
stays so skinny.
Well, because he doesn't get mashed potatoes every night.
Well, I have to work real hard through the day to, you know, exercise and all that kind of stuff. Well, Becky, while you got your mouth full, tell us what all, where you went to school and what all you do.
Well, I grew up in Williamson, West Virginia, in Mingo County, and graduated from high school there. And then I went to Marshall University. I was a journalism major.
I see.
And I moved to Lexington, Kentucky, and worked actually in the thoroughbred racehorse business. And while I was there, my boss won the Kentucky Derby.
Wow.
He bred a Kentucky Derby winner named Allie Sheba, who won in 1987.
That's great.
And then I got the big city bug and I moved to Washington, D.C., but I returned to West Virginia in 2017 to work with the governor and first lady, Jim and Kathy Justice, because we had gone to college together. And I just thought, you know, if the governor's going to do this to try to help West Virginia at this point in his life, then I think I need to go down there and help him, because I really, believe that West Virginia is a wonderful place. So many good people, and people that are doing what you're doing. They're trying to preserve a, charming inn, and but yet moving forward with your lives and trying to improve things.
Now, we attended a dinner over the weekend and at Lewisburg, and we met Governor Justice, and he said he would, did you already tell him?
No.
He said he would come to our cooking show and that he liked fried chicken and a lot of it. So.
He does like fried chicken. That we serve him that at the governor's mansion on occasion, and he also likes meatloaf. Just so you know, and a good hamburger.
Well, we've got good meatloaf. We've got excellent hamburgers. Now, I'll tell you, my favorite hamburger is the one at Red Robin. I like a Red Robin burger.
Okay.
However, I have to go to Philadelphia or I have to go to the Silicon Valley to get one. But I know they're around here, but they're just not in Charleston.
Oh.
And then other than that, it's ours.
What makes the Red Robin one so good?
They use a 2773 blend of ground beef to where the fat cooks out of it, but it leaves that amazing flavor. And they don't cook it until it's dry, and they don't use a weight to press it down so that all the meat juices are pressed out of it.
It sounds delicious.
So you're trying to mimic that here at the end as well?
Yeah, if I could. It's really excellent.
Well, I hear you all do some weddings sometimes, too.
Yeah,
She-
I don't even know how many weddings we have booked. We have 3 class reunions booked.
Oh, that's fun.
Yeah, they are.
She usually did about 15 to 20 weddings a year.
Yeah, I stopped
Here.
taking large parties at 20.
They get to be quite large. You know, you have enough room for the people, so they invite a lot of people, and which is good for us and good for the families that get to come and enjoy our scenery here. It's a beautiful place here on the river.
Becky, when I was in Europe, they would cook with a thing called creme fraiche, CREME and fresh, FRES. That's right. Look for it everywhere in West Virginia.
Yeah.
Can't find it, and it was just the best stuff to cook
Yes,
with.
but you can do a hunt on the internet, put down creme fresh recipe, and they will give you one where you can make it almost identical to what they have. I had to do that once for the mascarpone cheese,
Yes.
Oh.
because the only place you can buy it around here is in Charleston.
What were you making with mascarpone cheese?
What was I making?
Tiramisu.
I may have been making the tiramisu, but I later developed the recipe into that middle layer of the lasagna.
Oh yeah.
That was
And
going
it's
to be my
really-
next guess.
Yep, it was really a nice recipe.
Dan, do you cook?
A little bit when I'm out at camp. I cook at camp. I usually do all the cooking, matter of fact, for all the hunters that we have in our camp, and I enjoy doing that. And also when we've rented houses and cottages and places. When we go out to work, I cook for the men. So some of them kind of laugh at some of the things I've made, and
What's your big dish?
well, I made brown beans one time, and of course we didn't have enough time to cook them because the men were hungry. You know, we just got in from work. You know, and it takes time to cook brown beans, and they were kind of hard. And these, they were kind of laughing at my brown beans as hard as they were. But I love to cook chicken and pork chops and mashed potatoes, and I cook all of the
The potato soup
stuff.
is his.
potato soup. My mother taught me to make potato soup, and I really have a good, what do you call it, recipe for our type of German potato soup.
It's
So
his mama's recipe. Now, that was another thing. I had never heard of potato soup until we got married, and I really thought that Granny had made every kind of soup known to man. But
Well, this is my first ever shoe pie fly.
Isn't it great?
Shoe fly pie.
But it's good, isn't it?
It's delicious.
Randall, did it taste like the one you had up in Pennsylvania Dutch?
Better.
Better?
Honest to goodness. It was thinner than this. This is wonderful.
Well, my recipe, you're supposed to make it in a 9-inch pie shell, but I don't have any pie pans that are 9 inches, so I used a 10-inch. So I use this 1.5 times, and that's why it's thicker. But you know, if you put that into a 10-inch pie shell, it'd only be about that thick, and you know why.
Well, Randall, is there any other thing that you'd like to talk about on the culture and history?
What should we talk about?
Well,
Things are going great. We do something major almost every month.
we're already working on the First Lady's Christmas ornament, which we last year used lumber, wood, because we wanted to promote a West Virginia industry.
I see.
And all of First Lady Justice's ornaments thus far have been completely handmade in West Virginia. We like to give artists a chance to make a little extra money. We make 500 ornaments.
I see.
And when you buy one, you have a little insert that talks about the artist.
I see.
And we invite them to the ornament debut, and so they get some publicity, and they make some extra money. So it's a win-win.
Becky loves to go to the arts and crafts shows that
Yes, she
all around the
does.
state, and we have an arts and crafts building across the street that I built for her, and her sister loves to get in there and make all kinds of stuff. So they've made jewelry and the what is that tree you make?
Gem trees.
Gem trees.
Where I have like a semi-precious
gem tree,
gemstone
yeah.
on
Oh.
the top,
She
and
loves
then
to
a
go,
rare mineral.
Oh,
She
how
goes to
nice.
these
Bottom.
gem and mineral shows and buys these
The loose stones.
the different type of
Right.
stones that are all over the.
You know,
Like
like
quartz.
amethyst. No, not. I just don't buy quartz. I get amethyst, blue sapphire. I actually
Turquoise
get turquoise, right? Amazonite. I really get nice stones.
Oh, that's so nice.
Well, I can tell you we're doing something new this year. Vicki and I just went to Blinko, and for Father's Day, we're going to have a limited piece in honor of the governor, and it's going to be a stein.
It's going to be
It's
masculine.
It's going to be, it'll be beautiful, like a beer stein.
stein.
Probably about 6.5, 7 inches tall. And we're doing it in cobalt blue and then the amber handle, so in the colors of the state of West Virginia.
I see.
And it'll be
nice.
etched. Oh, it's really nice.
Yeah.
It'll be a collector's piece.
Since I've been here, we've always done a signature piece for this is my third First Lady. And for
This will
her,
be a first for the governor.
this will be a first for the governor. And but for this First Lady, we've done a piece every year. So this is our third piece that'll be coming up with her. We always do that on Valentine's Day. So what other new things are we doing? The marching band competition is doing great. We are in our 8th year, and we have anywhere from 35 to 40 bands every year from West Virginia that come down. We're going to do a new thing for that. It's called Drums on the Capitol.
Well.
And so with the drum lines, we'll do a drumline battle.
Well, good.
And your museum awards.
Oh, yeah, well, we just got another award for the museum, for the,
Well, how do you advertise all of this?
well, you might notice I'm a little vociferous and a big mouth.
Telegram, Telegraph, and Telerandall.
Yeah. So, but we do a lot of social media. But that is the challenge, is to make sure more people know about what we have in West Virginia.
That's good.
Randall, you and Becky, and we appreciate you coming down tonight, or up from Charleston, for us to be our guest tonight, and we've enjoyed having you here, and hopefully you get to come back again and
It's been
bring the crew.
It's
And,
been our pleasure, and we thank you so much. Very kind of you.
Nice. I did
It's
pepper
the-
jack grits. Wait till you taste my pepper
Becky,
jack grits.
our director is saying we are out of
adorable.
time.
Oh, okay.
And,
I'm sorry.
Oh, don't
You
be
know
sorry.
that Randall and I have to talk.
Of
We
course.
can talk after the show's over. Good night, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for tuning in to Dan and Becky at Glen Ferris.
Thank you. See you next
Bye.
week. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.